Hello guys, in this particular tutorial we are going to go ahead and talk about map. Now what is a map? Map is a key value pair. So in a map you will have a key and you will also have a value corresponding to the map. So it is little different than set and list. In set you keep on adding the elements, but in the case of a map you have a key and you have a value. So when you're going to go ahead and use this key and value, for example, you wanted to go ahead and store a list of addresses that corresponding to employee ID. So for example, an employee ID of 121, the address is 7001 Hansel Road. So this becomes the key and this becomes the value. Similarly, if you can go ahead and say 131, this is just a number, random number, and the address, so this is the employee ID and the corresponding, it's Cameroon Lane. McKinney. So that's the address. So this is a key value pair. So whenever you want to store values that are to be referenced through a key, then you are going to go ahead and use a map. And the keys are of primitive data type. What do you mean by primitive data type? We already discussed it is integer and string, etc. Those are the primitive data types. So where the keys are of primitive data types, whenever you talk about a key value, then that is something we call as map. And an example is if you want to store a list of addresses that correspond to employee IDs. Now we are going to go ahead and do an example to discuss more about what is map. So let's go back to our developer console. Here, let me close these extra execution. So now we are in the developer console. So the way to create a map, so you have a key and a value. So you have to specify what is the type of the key. Is it of string type? Is it of integer type? What is the type? And you also have to specify the type of the value. So in a map, you have two things. I repeat again and again. In a map, you have two things, a key and a value. So when you are trying to use a map, or we can say declare a map, then at that time you need to specify the type of the key and you also need to specify the type for the value also. So I'm going to go ahead and create a map where the key is also a string and the value is also of type string, and the name of my map is called my strings. This is the name of my map. And how to declare it? You can just use the same new map, and then again you're going to say define it here. It's a string comma string because the key is of type string and the value is also of type string. Now I'm going to go ahead and initialize my map right here. So just like this is a shortcut. So the key is A and the value for that is, let's say, apple. Similarly, the second element in my map is B and the value for that is, let's say, boy. So this is my map which has two elements. The key for the first element is A, the value for that corresponding is apple. The second element key is B and the value is boy. So now we have created a map here. Let me increase the size, and which has two elements. So now if you wanted to go ahead and display the element which has a key of A, so how are you going to go ahead and do? There's a method available. You can use something called as map value at for key A. So this is my how I'm going to go ahead and display. So I'll say my strings get me the value where the key is what? A. So what will it give it to me? It will give me apple. Now if you wanted to go ahead and display everything, all the elements that are there in the map, you can just go ahead and instead of saying particular key, if you just say my strings, it will display everything that is there in the map. So let's go ahead and execute this and see what happens. So what I've done here is, first line, I'm creating a map where I'm defining that my key is of type string and my value is also of type string. In a map, you will have a key value pair, and right away I am initializing my key. So my key is A and the corresponding value is apple. Then I have another element where the key is B and I have the value is boy. Then what I'm trying to display is I want to display the element with the key of A. So what is it? It is apple. Let's say you wanted to go ahead and display the element with the key of B. So I can go ahead and say the same thing. element with key B. So what is it? I just have to go ahead and say the key is B. So what will be the value here? The value would be boy. So let's go ahead and execute. If I go to the debug here, map value. So if I go back here and open it, so the map value corresponding to the A is what? Apple. Then for the B is boy. And then you have, if you want to display everything, so just have to use the name of the map and it will say A is equals to apple and B is equals to boy. So now this is the way to create a map. Now let's go ahead and next time we're going to go ahead and create a map where the key is of type integer and the value is of type string. So now what we're going to go ahead and do, we're going to create a map where the key is of type integer and the value is of type string. And what is the name of my map? Let's say the name of my map is HMap. And here, this is another way of creating a map. And I'm again specifying the key is of type integer and the value is of type string. So now I'm going to go ahead and so now I've created a map which does not have any elements so far. Now I'm going to go ahead and add the elements. So the method here is not add. The method here is called put. When you're adding elements in the case of map, you do not use add, but you use a put method. And here you will tell that, okay, my key, the 12, let's say, is the key and corresponding value for that key is, let's say, Chaitanya. So that is the value for this key. So what I'm doing at 12, it is corresponding to Chaitanya. So the same thing for employee ID, we had address. So here 12 has a value for Chaitanya. So this is the key and this is the value. Now I'm going to go ahead and add my next element. So let's say my next element is the same method hmap.put. And now I'm say for the key is 2 here. And let's say the value is Rahul. So this is my second element in the map. So for the key of 2, so the key is 2 and the value is Rahul. So this is my second element that I have added. Now let's go ahead and add another one. Let's go ahead and add a couple more here. Okay. So here for the key is, let's say, 7. You can just put any random keys. It should be numbers. Just make sure because you have already specified the key should be of type number. And then you have another one is 49 called Ajit. And then you have the next one here for 3. And just say this is Anuj. So now what you have here, these are all the elements that you have added in this particular map. So now if you want to display all the elements, you just have to specify system.debug elements in my map and you just have to specify the name of your map and it will display all the elements. Okay, so now if I go back here and I try to run this, what's going to be the output? It will say corresponding to 12, this is the value. For 2, this is the value. For 7, this is the value. So it is going to go ahead and show you a key value pair. So let's go ahead and run the program and the output is going to be, okay, so let's go ahead and hit the debug. So it says 2 is, see, is ordered is not the same the way we have added. It's just random order. So 2 Rahul, then we have 3 Anuj, then we have 7, then 12 and the 49. So the order is in the order of the keys. So the first key is 2, then 3, then 7, then 12 and 49. So it's order of the key. So now we have added the elements. Now let's say you wanted to go ahead and display not every element in your map, but only corresponding to a particular key. So let's say you only want the element which is at key of 2. So how are you going to go ahead and use? So let's say I'm putting the value of the element which is whose key is 2. So what is the element at key 2? Is Rahul. So what will be the value here for the var? It will be Rahul. So the value would be Rahul here. So now if I go ahead and display system.debug value of var, what is the value here? It's Rahul. So I'm going to go ahead and display the value. Next thing, let's say you wanted to put another one, hmap.get. You wanted to see what is the value for the key 49. So let's say the value is Ajit. So it's going to go ahead and put Ajit in this variable. And then you can go ahead and display the value of that variable here. So if you wanted to display the value of HE variable, this is the way to do it. So if you want to display all the elements, you can just use the name of the map and it will display all the elements. But if you wanted to only pick the value corresponding to a particular key, then you will use the get method and the particular key. So here at key of 2, this is the one. So what will be the value here, guys? The value would be Rahul. Now, what is the value for the key 49? Ajit is the value. So now the Ajit will be put into this variable called HE. So whenever you display it, this time it will display Ajit. Now, if you wanted to go ahead and see what is the size of my map, so there's the same method you have discussed earlier. That's the size method. So if you wanted to calculate the size of the map, you can just say hmap dot of size. So this is going to go ahead and give you the size for my map. So what is the, how many elements are there? There are total of 5 elements. So the size is 5 here. Now, if you want to delete every element from the map, so you already know about a method called clear. So same method applies here as well. So if in order to clear everything, in order to delete every element from the map, I'm going to go ahead and say hmap dot of clear. What will it do? It will delete everything. So what will be the new size will be 0 because it is going to go ahead and delete all the elements from your map. So the result would be 0 elements in the map. So now let's go ahead and execute. So we're going to go ahead and click on this execute button and let's go ahead and execute. Go to the debug, open our program window as well. So let's match our output. So as I told you, for the key of 2, the value is Rahul, so it went ahead and displayed Rahul. Then for the 49, the value is Ajit, so it went ahead and displayed Ajit here at line number 11. Then what is the size here? We have 5 different elements in the map, so that's why the size is 5 here. And then we have did a clear on the map. So that means we have removed every element. So the new size becomes 0. So there is no element left in the map.